All right. Okay. So we are very thankful to the World Bank for providing us this platform. But while it has provided us this platform, the views expressed during these webinars are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the World Bank or its partners. South Asia Young Women in Water Initiative is committed to empowering young women leaders in the region to address water-related challenges through advocacy, collaboration, and innovation. Focused on ensuring equitable representation, SAVI bridges the gap between South Asian youth and global water platforms. In today's webinar, titled Reflecting on World Water Week, Enhancing Youth Representation and Engagement, we are going to explore the challenges of youth inclusion with a special focus on South Asian participants, examining ways to foster fresh voices and ensure meaningful representation. My name is Meghna Chakravarti, and I'm one of the founders of the South Asia Young Women in Water, SAVI. A bit about myself. With a passion for fostering inclusivity and diversity, I am thrilled to host today's conversation, where again, we will reflect on youth representation and engagement at global water forums, like World Water Week. I'd like to extend a hearty welcome to our panelists for today's webinars. Our first panelist is Mannat Kaur. Mannat is a 16-year-old student from Delhi Public School, RK-Puram. She recently represented India at the International Stockholm Junior Water Prize during the World Water Week. And she brings a unique perspective on youth participation, having won the national championship at IIT Madras with her innovative project tackling water challenges. Very hearty welcome to you, Mannat.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Joining us next is Sheikh Muhammad Asad. He is a DARD EPOS scholar pursuing his master's in hydroscience and engineering at TU Dresden. Asad has hands-on experience with urban flood risk management in Karachi, Pakistan. And he was the only junior rapporteur from Pakistan at World Water Week 2024 this year. His insights into South Asia's water challenges are invaluable. So thank you, Asad, for joining us today. Very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you for a kind introduction. And hello, everyone. Excited to be here.
Thank you. Our final panelist is Farjana Bilkis. Farjana is a project manager with the Swedish Waterhouse at CV, Stockholm International Water Institute, where she oversees major projects, including World Water Week. Farjana's deep involvement in stakeholder coordination, event organization, and financial oversight gives her a unique perspective on how global water platforms foster inclusivity and diversity. She will shed light on the organizers' approach to youth representation and engagement. Welcome to you, Farjana, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Meghna. Thanks for this very sweet introduction. Yeah, I'm very excited to be part of this webinar, and I follow this network and platform for many days. Since last year, it has been started. So yeah, it's a very nice initiative and very excited to be part of this today.
Thank you so much. Means a lot to us. So the first thing first, I'll straight up jump to asking you the questions. I'd like to know from each of you, how was your experience at the World Water Week 2024 this year? And what were your major takeaways? Maybe we can start with Mannat. How was your experience and your takeaways?
Yeah, so being the first time having attended it, I did not really explore a lot of the conferences going on there, but a few that I did, it was a good experience through those. Plus, I had a good experience networking with various companies present there. One of them was Xylem, which was also associated with the Stockholm Junior Water Prize itself. And because their research area and the domain in which my project is based really coincides, it's in the domain of pump functionality, which is a part of my project as well, which is why I think I resonated with their work a lot. And having visited their facility through the World Water Week initiative and the Stockholm Junior Water Prize was a good one, because their facility in Stockholm is really well designed, and so many pumps are in operation. So it makes me wonder about how much innovation has already been done in this field, and how maybe a step from my end could also add value to whatever has been done. As for the the premise where the Stockholm, where the World Water Week in general happened, and where the Stockholm Junior Water Prize proceedings also took place, including the judging, I think all of that was a great experience. And I also got in touch with a couple of Bangalore-based sewage treatment plant companies, etc., who are now helping a lot in developing my project and looking into the angle of product development, because having applied for the patent, they feel that this could be a good step into making this a product to be brought off the shelf. So in general, again, grateful for this opportunity, because having worked in the field of water for maybe more than 4 years now, I feel I needed this platform, or I needed this opportunity to understand the various domains in which water plays an integral role. And I got a good understanding of that through various exhibitions that took place, through few of the seminars I attended. And I think the highlight was listening to Taikanuki when he talked about his he did not really want to go into the field of hydrology, but was forced to in some way. And then he said that when we put our heart and soul into something, even though that might not be the field we desire to go into, the results will come, and sure, they did for him. And I think that's what inspires me to keep going in this.
Wonderful to learn about that, Mannat. So clearly the networking and the learning opportunities are the takeaways that, basically this is what you are, I could summarize. Asad, coming to you. You also come from a technical background, and I would like to know about your experience, given that it was also your first time to the World Water Week. What was your experience, and what were your takeaways?
So, as you mentioned that I come from a very technical background, so I always wondered what are the impacts? What are the impacts on the communities, and how this work that I do and how the things that I design is going to impact people. So that was something that I have wondered throughout my career. It's a very short career, but so this was actually really important for me, and this was my first experience of attending such a conference, and it was actually really good. I met really good people from different set of backgrounds within even within our repertoire team. There were people from decision making backgrounds, from communication backgrounds, some were doctoral students, and they were having different kinds of projects that they were working on. And even the companies, they brought different flavors that I didn't realize that the domain of water can have so much spectrums to it. And again, even though obviously there is a lot that needs to be done, but I was actually amazed by the things that are being done right now. Some of the simplest concepts that have been applied by especially the youth, that was actually really amazing. And some really cool concepts that I learned. One of them was about the river kinship. So treating rivers as an entity, as like kind of humanizing them and giving them rights and establishing an emotional connection with them. It was actually really good. And I got to network with like a lot of companies, a lot of people from different so within the water sector, but different fields. And I also saw people from energy background and climate background that coming to World Water Week and sharing that there's a work that needs to be done and they are willing to put in the effort. So in context of this nexus of different fields coming together for sustainable water management, that was actually a really nice experience.
Thank you, Asad. What you mentioned is something what I also have felt personally when I was studying water in my master's, is that there's a gap between science and social science that needs to be bridged. And that is something very similar to the lines of what you said, that this is what you observed, like how the technical things actually have an impact on the society. Great observation, and I'm so glad that
one more thing that I want to add is like one of the key things that I still like remember was that the people from technical background, they need to become better storytellers so that we can have that connection. We just we don't need the technical jargon every time we hear an expert. We need the story, so we need to have that connection with our water resources so that we can have that sense of belonging that we care about.
Amazing. So you learned the value of ownership. That's amazing. Coming to Farjana. Farjana, this is definitely not your first World Water Week. But this was your first Bridging Borders themed World Water Week. So I would like to know what your experience was and what were your takeaways?
Well, you were right. I have started participating in World Water Week from 2018 when I was studying my master's. At that time, I was participating as a volunteer student, I came here with another scholarship program called Swedish Institute Scholarship. So they had put us in different leadership programs. So I went to this World Water Week just as a training practice of leadership. But then I saw that there is another opportunity to work as a volunteer, and there would be more opportunity to meet more people, networking more widely, and to learn more. So I said, instead of going just only the leadership training, I will attend as a participant of like a volunteer. And since then it started, and since then I was involved into it so much. Yeah, so from 2018 till 2021, I was on the other side of the table from CU's perspective, but in 2021 I was in this side of the table. So yeah, I joined in 2021, and from the beginning, it is exciting every year. It's a very exciting platform to meet new people in the same sector, the same way you think, or the same way your values go. If you are concerned about the water sector, water governance, the climate issues and everything, so this is just the correct place you meet the people. And not only that, as both Manat and Asad mentioned, that this is a good platform to see the cross-sectoral participants or stakeholders coming from governmental agencies, development organizations, different ministries from different countries, like technical people, or like engineers, or like the development organizations like CUE or GIZ or World Bank. Yeah, there are so many stakeholders in the same platform, and there is a lots of way to learn a lot. At the same time, we can learn a lot, but at the same time, I'll say it raises more concern what is coming in future. So I find this place is a good place to focus on how I can contribute. I am from business background. I studied finance, economics, so I participated many sessions which are connecting to the private sector, how the private sector can, contribute in this sector, in this water governance issues or water stewardship issues. So I participated in many of the sessions like with this topic. So it was exciting to learn a lot. Since this is a quite broad one, I will just give some like very brief takeaways, which I think still necessary. I'm still working in an organization which works for cross-sectoral collaboration. So I guess cross-sectoral collaboration is very much important, and that's what actually have been proved or has been very much important in every countries, if you say, or in every places or organizations. That, particularly, I guess, the private sector is not much connected yet with this kind of activities with the local government or like international collaborations, because, this is a little bit conflict of interest, you might know, like their business is somehow impacting the environment anyway. So when we have worked different way, we work with different stakeholders. For example, try to collaborate some like textile organizations or the energy sector. Then it brought up so many times that there are conflict of interest and we need to work together in this way. And the second thing I found interesting is like, we are always talking about innovation. We need innovative solution of all these problems, but there are already so many existing practices in different countries or in different areas, which can be a solution to another area. Particularly maybe something is implementing in Africa. I attended one of the session there. So I found this might be good implementation maybe in Bangladesh flood solution, because I haven't heard something like that. So this is just a thought. So it's just like to learn more about that. And the third thing, I guess, can be more interesting to think about is data-driven solution. Like nowadays, artificial intelligence, or like, like this is a very important issue, like what else say tool. It's being very important tool to learn or to collaborate or to make solutions in many ways. So I guess this could be another important thing to think about, like the technology and the knowledge can be improved and distributed in more proper way using the artificial intelligence to solve these water governance problems. So I guess these are my takeaways this year from this theme, bridging borders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful to know about your takeaways and learnings, Farjana, but I think I'm going to ask you another question. Given that you mentioned that you have been on the other side of the table for quite some time now. And you did mention that you meet new people, but as youth, many of us in the development sector, we are observing repetitive participation of certain individuals across global platforms, which we strongly feel that it tends to limit the inclusion of fresh perspectives, especially when it comes to underrepresented regions like the South Asia. So drawing from your experience organizing large-scale international events like World Water Week, what measures have been or could be implemented to ensure a more inclusive representation of youth voices, particularly from South Asia, and prevent repetitive participation?
This is a important discussion to think about. Actually, when I as I was saying, maybe when we talked separately, but I guess I can share my experience, what I faced when I was in Bangladesh studying my bachelor. No one was talking about climate problems, or no one was talking about water issues. We didn't know there is existing SDGs. Before that, it was MDG, so Millennial Development Goal. Then it came SDGs. We didn't know. It is not discussed much in our textbooks, or it was not discussed even, anyway, in our media, or in our, like political or economical or yearly budget discussion. It never came as an issue, or we never knew that much. But I learned it some other way when there was another conference in my university. Then I learned it for a little bit, and I wanted to learn more, but there was a very less opportunity to learn that way. Now, when I moved in Sweden to study the like advanced master's program in climate and environmental economics and management, then there is a huge opportunity. You can have a lot of access into the knowledge, like you can learn more, you can have degrees, you can have trainings, or capacity development program. You can take your knowledge in different format. It's not necessarily you have to have it in a big, like a bachelor program or a master's program. You can learn it in even going through the like conferences like this. So now consider this World Water Week is happening in Europe, but do we have any kind of big conferences like this in Asia region? We don't have much. So I guess starting from the beginning, we need to have access to the knowledge, so capacity development programs. And many development organizations are already into that region, but their capacity is also very limited. They can't provide much, resources. But youth like you, or like this network, they can take this initiative. And this initiative is very much exciting in my eyes, because that's how it starts. You are reaching different people, and people are being concerned, being aware, and that's how we can develop a big network in South Asia, and we can access this capacity development, different training. It can be program, it can be, workshops like this, so that people know more about it. People become more aware, are concerned about the water, which is very much important. Because if our country's water is, like get wasted, or it's become polluted, it's not like only our country will be infected. It's a transboundary issue. So that's how I guess it's very much important. So youth capacity building program is one of the solution, I guess, through like networks like this. And of course, not only CWE, I will say there are many development organizations already are present in that region, but I guess maybe local government can be also be more supportive in this kind of knowledge development program. Then from like the developed countries perspective, from like Europe or USA. So there are already, I know there are some scholarship and outreach programs, youth outreach programs, but maybe they can bring some more similar programs to reach a region-wise, as you were saying, like our region is quite in like behind from the race. So and we are interested. So it can be reached like this, and the communication should become from both sides, like from our country, I mean, from South Asian countries, it should be arranged something with like the cross collaboration with the developed organizations or developed country or different governmental agencies. So it's a separate sector, but it is another, might be solution, it can be. And the third thing about, you said that the representation of repetitive participation of the people, like young people at least. Yeah, I guess if there is like enough not enough. I will say already, like, many people are interested to come into this sector, into the development sector, or climate issues or water related related organizations. But I don't know where is the gap actually. Like, I'm interested, I come here and I'm going to the platform, but many other people is trying to come in the same track, but it's difficult for them. But the connection is very much complicated to understand. But and that's how it's getting boring. People are not hearing. When the new or fresh leadership is coming, the youth is coming, then the people have more network or more wide, like, how I'll say this, like, there will be fresh faces, fresh voices, then people will tend to understand what they are, or they will try to listen, like, what's the new people is saying. So I guess the rotational leadership can be a solution, like different organizations. Even in CWE, we have these cross-cutting issues. We must need to include all our projects with the youth participants. And we know that we are doing in different projects in different countries, but that is a small capacity. We don't have much resources. We don't have own the whole country. So I guess different organizations should bring fresh faces or fresh leadership or training program each year, so that people can learn more and have more wide distribution of knowledge. So it's just my thought, what I am seeing from my place in my organization. So yeah, I guess
It's very
that's
important to learn that, even with the limited capacity, you are invested in pushing or enhancing youth representation through their engagement in meaningful capacities. But you mentioned multiple times about capacity building. So I think I'm going to next come to Asad. Um, Asad, how do you think youth participants can be better prepared for international conferences like the World Water Week to ensure that their engagement and the impact of their participation, it goes beyond the event itself and it contributes to a longer term solution?
I think that just goes to the this basic need of like doing some homework before coming to the event itself. So it's like you need to be aware of what is going to happen in the event, and so it just not just remain at the concepts and the methods and the innovations that are being shared, that they just remain in the event, but they go beyond that. And one of the key things that they can focus on is they can ask questions about localization. So like how can, so for example, if something has been done in one part of the world, how is that going to help in another part of the world, and they can bring their own perspective to it. So for that, they have to be well prepared. They have to be a little more aware about what is being going on. But again, that goes to the requirement of institutions and organizations doing work to make the youth aware of such things. So for example, we have to penetrate more into the youth to make themselves aware, and it goes beyond just the water sector. So people from policy sector, from energy sector, from climate sector, like we have to target youths of all kind, and we have to use a particular kind of language that can attract them, and that can make them aware of such issues, so that they can have good questions to ask to. And one more thing that they can try to get themselves much more involved is that they can ask how they can help in those projects. And again, this goes to the so for the people, for the stakeholders who are involved in any of the innovations or concept, they have to make opportunities available for youth, even though it's just for a very small period of time, or for a very small task. They have to prepare some tangible activities that youth can get themselves involved into. and then that they can have a much more sense of belonging to a particular concept or to a particular innovation. So that is something that youth can work on to. But again, that is not just the youth that have to work on this. We have to come forward and make them and involve them into these activities. That is my take. And obviously, again, this was something that was missing from this year World Water Week as well, that that the tangible outcomes were missing, and not a lot of people asked about it. And again, so people who are young, they can have this such questions that are very specific. So what is your goal, what you want to achieve within 2 years, and how can we follow up to that, even though we don't want to involve actively in that. But like, how is there a place where you can publish, or is just a concept in a silo where you won't be discussing that. So I think that is going to not only going to help the youth, but the people who are working on such things. It goes both way, and this is how I think youth can ensure that their participation is impactful and will help the World Water Week and the water sector in general in long term.
Thank you so much, Asad. You mentioned about tangible outcomes. So I think tangible outcomes is what the Stockholm Junior Water Prize looks for. Next we'll go to India's debut at Stockholm Junior Water Prize this year after 29 years since the inception of the prize. Indeed, a proud achievement for you, Mannat. Based on your experience, what do you believe international entities like Stockholm International Water Institute, World Water Week, and other global water platforms, they can do better to support young participants, particularly in the terms of resources, mentorship, or follow-up opportunities, to ensure that youth from regions like South Asia can make a more substantial impact and carry forward their learnings post-conference?
Yeah, so interestingly, I was also a part of one of the talk shows there, which was about bridging borders between generations and involvement in water. I believe that though this is the inception year for India or maybe the South Asia region, but I think there's a lot that facilities like Xylem, because we were in a talk show with Xylem and they specifically asked how can Xylem induce that interest into individuals and how they can nurture that. So I think that was a specific question directed, which I also answered that. But I think companies like Xylem or maybe CV or maybe the local, like the national organizer, Stockholm Junior Water Prize India, can do a lot to nurture that interest into individuals, which I feel is lacking right now. I'm sorry to be upfront, but it is lacking because I felt that when we were, so there was a lot of support from IIT Madras all throughout, but there was surely not as much opportunities or not as much guidance I got in terms of maybe getting access to labs and stuff, which I think would have for sure helped me strengthen maybe the results section of my project. Additionally, I think, sure, we had a great connection with Xylem at their facility there, but I think after that, there's this disconnect now. So maybe having a platform where such communications can be kept going, apart from maybe just LinkedIn where you post your updates, but a platform where such discussions keep going on between company professionals like Xylem and maybe individuals like us who find a great intersection between their work and our work. And when you have such kind of a partnership, or maybe when you have such kind of support, you are motivated to do better. So I know there's already a lot of support out there, nothing against it, but I think going ahead, looking ahead, sustainability, it's a field not many youth, like my friends, don't want to penetrate into it that deeply. But I think it is the need of the hour now to do that. Everybody should be mindful of what they're doing in whatever way possible. But for those who are really committed to this, they should be getting the kind of support in terms of just helping them, nurturing them, getting them contacts, or maybe just doing their, like, company doing their part to support whatever the youth wants. I think the Stockholm International Water Institute is doing a lot. The Stockholm Junior Water Prize facility, like the competition in itself, is doing a lot by getting us in touch with judges, getting their feedback, exposing us to maybe the sustainability head director of Penn State. So that's a huge opportunity. But I think continuing those discussions even after the conference is over is, I think, the need of the hour, because we don't just go to a conference for an award, maybe, because I did not go with that intent at all. I went with the intent of making connections. That's what I had in my mind. That's what my parents told me to do. I did make a lot of connections, but I would love to foster them after the conference as well, that is now. Maybe in terms of just helping me into the product design development of my project, which is an area I'm looking into. Or maybe supporting the patent process a bit by helping me with the guidelines of maybe the US policy or the India policy. So there are these small things where support can really help. And that's where that sometimes is a roadblock for me, because I don't have that required knowledge. And that's why things start to slow down on my end as well. But if that kind of support is there throughout, I'm pretty sure anybody who is going into this field, who is trying to get themselves into this field, there are ample opportunities through maybe the INSEF National Fair, the IRIS National Fair, and ample others in India as well, where you can try out your interests. And I think then with this spirit of nurturing such youth, I think they will for sure stay in touch with this field and maybe go on into the field of environmental engineering and do something breakthrough like Taika Nuki did in his time. So yeah.
Great to learn about your experience, Manat, and thank you for answering that question. Yes, it is indeed the need of the hour that we have to ensure that our mentorship goes beyond these conferences and beyond such water prizes or any kind of, especially when you are expecting youth to get involved. The support has to go till the completion of the project and not just the completion of the event. I actually want to I have another question to ask, but I think I would want to take this one question, which I feel is like a very interesting question that has come on the chat. I think Farjana is the right person to answer this. And please feel free to ask any questions, anybody, if you have. We'll be happy to take the questions. Farjana, were there any representation from conflict-ridden or war zones? Especially because, you know, we are living in the times of wars. There are multiple wars happening, international, and intranational as well. So this is a very good question to ask right now, that when we are particularly talking about the theme bridging borders, what about representation from war zone and what are we doing about it?
This is I'll say, a question with conflicts, of course, you know. But this question actually I asked myself to like our organization as well. And the first, or the very normal answer is like, this conference was not bringing or presenting anything relevant to the war or conflict zone. I don't know the protocol or legal reason, because, you know, as a organization, see, we must need to follow some protocols or legal bindings. So I don't know the exact reason for being from this organization, but I know that these were not presented actively. But I know there was, the Ukraine president came for a while, but I didn't saw him either. So I don't know, because it was a high level political connections. Even if someone came or being presented, it was not connected with the like general people or like general participants. So there was no active presentation. So Yeah, I know, I know that, but you know, this is not this question is actually for the government, because this is a big level of event, and this needs a clarification from the different securities and perspective from the government. And even if CWE is the host organization, but still they need to follow. But like, it's not something like I can present some of the conflict zone as a individual, and I can go there. It's not forbidden for the people from the war zones and conflict zones, and it's you can talk about these stuffs, but it's not like we brought someone from that what else, a topic or this issue. We like this conference didn't show it officially, and that's what I know. But I'm not sure about the exact reason, because in UN conferences this is discussing, but I don't know, like this one is.
I would like to add on to what Farjana said, Nivedita, because I rapported this session. I was mostly rapporting all the sessions that had the WASH theme. So I rapported this session which talked about the Ukraine conflict and how they are managing their WASH infrastructure amidst the conflict. And there were people from Ukraine, and those who could not come, we did a video, like they were present through a video conference. But it did happen, and to be honest, like I was towards the end, by the time it ended, the session was ended, I was so overwhelmed. I literally wanted to like I just, it took the energy, like it drained all my energy, because I was constantly thinking that how they are managing it. You know, at times it gets very overwhelming as well, emotionally, especially when you have worked on ground and you know the impact of WASH that happens on in the lives of people. I have never visited Ukraine in my life, but when they were talking about the things that they are creating the infrastructure, but it is getting bombed again and again, and they have to like think about sustainability also, and they are trying for annexation with EU, so they have to increase their levels as well, while ensuring that they are constantly in the mode of repair. It's just like, when you think about right now also, when I'm telling you, I'm getting goosebumps, because they are doing all of this all together every day, all the time. And it was very, for me, it was overwhelming. We have another question from Nivedita itself. Delegates from similar ecological zones brought together based on the common ground. I think not as a collaborative capacity. Farjana, tell me if I'm wrong, but then there are representation from these regions, but not like, because it's not a platform where people are coming together to collaborate on a solution. So what I have understood from my 2 visits to World Water Week is that they give you the people, they give you the sessions, and it's on you to go and figure. Which is why we are talking so much about capacity building, because you need to be aware of like what it is that you want, and beforehand you get the list of participants and everybody, so you need to know that okay, these are the people, or like Mannat said that okay, xylem. So if xylem is something that matches with what Mannat is doing, then Mannat has to track them down and talk to them. And this is what it is, mostly like help you DIY kind of a conference. This is what I have understood. But Farjana she can maybe shed light better on this question.
Yeah, I mean, yes, as Meghna said, actually, this World Water Week conference is just a platform organized by like SIWI, Swedish Stockholm International Water Institute. And this is like it's a platform which brings this collaboration. This is not like, for like maintain or follow up projects or like how I'll say, like different agendas brought or discussed during this World War II conference. It's like different stakeholders are getting connected with different other stakeholders. Like engineers get connected with the investors, researcher is getting connected with the public and private sectors. Like this way, this is just a platform where it enables different stakeholders to initiate their knowledge, their experiences, and collaborations to solve the issues. This is the main like goal of World Water Week conferences. So the different, so yeah, I mean, as the question from Nivedita is like different ecological zones or similar zones can be brought together for common ground. It happened. Some of the sessions, even we do have some projects inside our organization as well, who have the common ecological zone, or not common, like similar ecological zone in Latin America, in Asia, also somewhere in Africa. So we do have some. I know there are some capacity building program is already going on there. So that's just a separate project is funded by Swedish Forest Agency. There's a small project. So there are some kind of sessions or discussions like that. We, as Meghna said, there are I don't know how many, like lots of sessions, maybe thousands of sessions or discussions happened. You have to go through different days or choose your correct one that this is I'm interested. This was the discussion. I was mostly interested how this year the financial sector is getting involved in sustainable finance. So I choose most of those topics this year. So it's present there as it like as you asked.
I'll there is another question from Yumna Wasim. I think I'll invite Asad to maybe answer this question. How can we leverage artificial intelligence to improve water management, particularly in the underprivileged regions? So
Again, so the problem is that there's a lot of buzz going around the machine learning and artificial intelligence, and everybody is talking about it, and there are different applications and all. But again, they are very data intensive. You need a lot of data for that to build models, to do different kind of things with AI and ML. And again, if we go to the underprivileged regions, we don't have a lot of data. I come from a city of around 25 million people, and we have only one met station. And for a city of 25 million people, one met station is not enough. So again, that goes to the basic question of like not having enough data. But again, there was this very promising initiative. I don't exactly remember, but it was in Africa. So what they did, they involved the local population and incentivized data collection, and then they use ML and AI methods to transform that data, clean that data, and publish it on a portal, so that people from different water sectors can use that data. So I think those kind of examples can help us, but again, we have to increase the data collection, increase the data record in order to make these methods useful in context of water management.
Thank you, Asad. Manit, is there something I would want to hear something from you. Like, how do you, as a upcoming and young water entrepreneur or aquapreneur, as we call you, how do you think that artificial intelligence can be a leverage to improve water management in underprivileged regions?
In general, I think artificial intelligence has that power. And I think one of the winning teams this time, that was the UK, I think leveraged geospatial data as well as employed some kind of ML models to get to some level of research in PFAS. So I think artificial intelligence does hold the power to change, like bring about some change in this sector. But I think how it's used and where it is used is really really important to know because it won't apply to every use case. Maybe a product such as mine is more intensive on the design iteration side, and maybe there's not much scope of AI, so there it won't. But wherever there is a need and wherever there's data-driven outputs needed and inferences needed, sure, artificial intelligence can help. But speaking from the angle of underprivileged communities, I think I completely agree with what Asad said. So I think we need to know the limitations, and only then we can go into understanding how much of an impact AI can have. Sure, it's a fancy word, it's a new term, we're exploring it. But I think understanding what its scope is and understanding what it can do and what situation it will work best is important to know. And I've not really looked into this deeply, but I think from the perspective of underprivileged regions, I stand true to what Asad said.
Thank you so much, Mannat. There is another question from Shumail Fatima. She's saying that we often see government and stakeholders making WASH policies from a very linear perspective, mostly benefiting one gender or region and having all fits one approach. How do you think we can get specifically government on board? Since policy implementation, if done right, could benefit the regions or people impacted. I think I'm again going to ask Farjana to answer this question because it's asking how specifically we can get government involved.
I'll say this is a critical question, you know, like as I am working like 3 years now in this sector, and I saw this kind of question or concern came so many times, you know, like when a development organization like SIWI or any other gets into a political region or a country, I will say, like these organizations can't help directly to implement any policy, you know, can't force a government to implement any policy directly. We can just raise the concerns, we can just show the outcomes, even if like the data as it is scarce, as both Asad and Manat said. I mean, how do the organizations will learn, even like the development organizations will learn that these conflicts are there already? So whatever is possible, like which we have done so far in different projects, as I saw, like we can just raise this concern by discussion or by, you know, collaboration with different governmental agencies in some countries. And still there are so many factors that need to be considered, and sometimes the government or like the policy implementation is not much easy, considering finance, economics, you know, are like other issues, religion, sometimes it other factors. So like the question is like the linear perspective, if a government implement a policy as a third party or as an external policy development organization, we can just raise or like develop the like knowledge or raise the concern or show the outcomes or future outcomes, like this might come or this might happen, but ultimately the government has to like the government is the ultimate ultimate factor who implement a policy. So what we can say that the urge to making a perfect policy, WASH policy, should become from the citizens, you know, and they will do that if they know, or if they come together to their local government representative. And that's how, I guess, again, the knowledge or capacity development is very important in that way, because yeah, artificial intelligence or like the technology is not available in many rural areas or underprivileged areas, but your knowledge or your effort is available. So once you know that, once you know the what is good for your climate, your environment, you can raise or bring these needs to your local representatives. And that's how it can be have a pressure from the local citizens instead of, the external development organizations. That is the only current solution we can say right now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Farjana. I actually had a question of my own, but we are running short of time. We have already overshot the time. So I think we are just going to wrap this up. This has been a very, very interesting session and some amazing participation from the participants. Wonderful questions. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for attending today's webinar. And I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our wonderful panelists for the time, knowledge, and passion. And a special thank you to the World Bank team for making the South Asia Young Women in Water part of the Next Gen Eco Talk webinars. And I'd like to invite you all to join this wonderful platform that gives wings to young water professionals' ideas while providing them a tight-knit global community. You can find them, or we'll be happy to provide you assistance in finding the eco community. I also want to extend a heartfelt thank you to my colleague Tabi Riaz for all her hard work in coordinating today's webinar and ensuring everything ran smoothly. This is just the beginning of the conversation under our webinar series, Empowering South Asian Youth in Global Water Platforms. We are going to continue to explore the representation of South Asian youth across global water conferences and work on enhancing it. We'll be hosting a webinar on the 1st of every month under this webinar series. So stay tuned for our next session, which is going to be on 1st of November, where we will dive deeper into this crucial topic. So thank you once again to all attendees for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you and a good night.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.